What's cooler than a new Spider-Man movie coming out? How about the Spider-Man universe finally being explored on the big screen? It looks like the Spider-Man universe is coming to Sony. While we don't know which direction they'll go, we do have a couple of suggestions as to where they should and shouldn't go. Want to know what made our list? Watch our video and find out. But first, swing on over to our subscribe button and join our notification squad to keep up to date with all things CBR.
I like being bad. It makes me happy.
Should. Planet of the Symbiotes. We're gonna start this list off with our favorite symbiote villain, Venom. One of the storylines the symbiote has is the Planet of the Symbiotes. This was a brand new, world-changing plotline that occurred in the pages of Guardians of the Galaxy. During that time, Venom had been reformed and joined the Guardians. A planet full of symbiotes? Yup. Eventually, the Guardians discovered that the Venom symbiote was from a planet filled with others of its kind, and that the reason it had such a dark past was because it had been corrupted. It looks like the Venom symbiote was the rebel of the planet. But good news, the fact that it was taken back to its home planet redeemed it. We'd go so far as to say it was purified. It's a cool story that features new Venom lore, dozens of awesome Venom creatures, and focuses entirely on the symbiote. What more could you want? If Sony's attempting to create a Venom movie without Spider-Man, giving him his own corner in the sky wouldn't be a bad idea. Why not send him into space and eventually to his own planet? It worked well in the comics.
Or we could do something else, or we could, if you don't, we could...
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, either one.
Shouldn't. Spider-Man. As you may know, there are tons of universes in Marvel, and Spider-Man has a lot of different universe duplicates. Most of the time, Spider-Man is some form of Peter Parker, but in some cases like Spider-Gwen, they are quite different. Some of the Spidey spin-offs are actually pretty cool. Then there's the Spider-Man. She's Aunt May, but she's also a spider hero. In this universe, she got the Spidey powers instead of Peter, and she uses them to go out and save the world. While she's admittedly awesome, and she has a Spider-Verse companion in an Uncle Ben who also received the spider powers, she wouldn't really work for the Sony Spider-Man universe. One of the reasons being is that Aunt May is a main character over in the MCU. As of right now, we don't know how the crossover between these two universes will work, but it doesn't seem like it'll be as free as it is between different MCU movies. It seems more like the difference between MCU movies and MCU shows. So while Spider-Man is hilarious, she shouldn't show up, if just to keep lawyers happy.
I've been bitten.
So have I.
Should. Spider-Gwen. This next one is one that we would all love to see on the big screen. Fan favorite Spider-Gwen. Spider-Gwen's creation was one of the most exciting things to happen to comics in years. She emerged from the Edge of Spider-Verse series, a 5-issue mini that focused on different spiders around the multiverse. Spider-Gwen was from a universe where Gwen Stacy was bitten by the spider and Peter Parker turned into the lizard. Spider-Gwen defeated him, but in doing so, Peter died. Their fates reversed. Why can't Gwen and Pete just ever be in love and alive? Gwen learned that with great power, there must also come great responsibility. It's not only aesthetically awesome with its black and white color blocking, but the pop of pink and the hood just take it to a whole new level. She has an entire world of possibilities and stories, and the Silver and Black series could use an actual spider character. So why not add the best one? We'd love to see a female superhero take charge on the big screen.
Aunt May called me. She told me about what happened. She's worried about you. I'm worried about you.
Shouldn't. Spider-Girl. Speaking of female superheroes, this next one on our list is a bit tricky. Spider-Girl first appeared in What If number 105. From that comic, she had her whole separate amazing universe spun out for her. She's an amazing character, possibly the best spider around, and should definitely not appear in the Silver and Black series. But why, you may ask? Well, the answer's simple. She just is too closely related to Spider-Man. It's because she's actually his real flesh and blood daughter, Mayday, whose entire story is about taking over for him when he's too old. We can't have Peter Parker retiring, he's just joining the Avengers in the MCU. She definitely would be a great addition to the MCU in about 15 years, if it's still there. However, adding her to the Silver and Black series would be nothing more than a declaration that no Spider-Man universe can succeed without having a Parker in it. Which absolutely isn't true. There are tons of interesting spiders that could be in the leads, not just another Parker. Let him live in the MCU for a while, and let Mayday Parker swing around in our hopes and dreams a little longer.
How come you never mentioned her? She's your lab partner? You saved her life? She thinks you're a genius and she had her polished fingernails all over you?
Should Madam Web. We know that Marvel can get a bit strange sometimes, but bear with us. We would like to set up a potentially awesome tie-in within the tangled web of the Spider-Verse. Madam Web is one of the weirder parts of Spider-Man's lore. She's a blind psychic who sits and reads all of existence. She's been helped along by Spider-Man, most famously in Amazing Spider-Man number 229 where Spidey fought the Juggernaut, and she's helped him along. Of course, she's also been involved in other plotlines as well. The main reason Madam Web should be added to the new Sony Spider-Man universe is simple. It needs to set itself apart from the rest of the Spider-Man things. We've already had 2 trilogies, and we're getting a 3rd one soon. If there's to be another whole Spider-Man universe, it needs to be separate from those, and what would work better than fully embracing mysticism and oddness? Better yet, Madam Web could be involved in the Spider-Verse event, or even the team leader of the Web Warriors. She would work perfectly in this new universe as the Nick Fury of it, connecting all the different movies until the team-up.
I know all about you. Like the fact that Spider-Man won't let you help your poor daughter. It's just, it doesn't seem right to me.
Shouldn't. The Clone Saga. We know some of you have already blocked this from your minds due to your intense 90s flashbacks. For the rest of you who genuinely don't remember, the Clone Saga was a years, yes, years with an S, long event that encompassed every single Spider-Man book. It was as insipid as it was bad. It was a bit too much on the long side. It never seemed to end, and every single plot twist had 9 more plot twists in it. Take note, M. Night Shyamalan. Plot twists we can handle, but the problem was that those plot twists were all rotten to the core, which also contained another twist. The simple version goes that Spider-Man had a clone, but then there was another clone, and then the clones fought. Simple, right? But then Spider-Man found out that he was the clone, then he found out that he wasn't, then his clone died, but he didn't. It turns out his aunt was a clone too, but she wasn't, and at some point we all stopped caring. Some people have tried, and it's working to various degrees, but it's never erased the stain of the original. Just let it go.
Hey, Gwen, honey, do you want, cocoa? Howard's making some cocoa.
Shh. No, Dad, I do not want cocoa. Honestly, I'm 17 years old.
Should Spider-Woman. Now that the clone drama is out of the way, let's get back to the more important things. The female superhero. Spider-Woman isn't actually technically a Spider character, but she's close enough that she's been moving over into the Spider events recently. And we couldn't be happier about it. Jessica Drew is actually a spy with a long history that began with her being an actual spider that mutated into a human being. Before you begin to question that in your head, remember, this is comic book world. Eventually, that was retconned to being a memory planted by the evil organization Hydra, who could easily be replaced with any other evil organization, who used her as a spy. Eventually, Drew found out that Hydra was evil and left to fight against them and be a hero. She found out she actually got her powers from when her father did a radical treatment to save her life as a child. The treatment involved radioactivity and spider blood, because science in comics makes no sense. She gains superpowers from this, and also, she's a spy. How would she not be perfect for the Black and Silver universe? We think she needs a movie for herself ASAP, or at the very least, be a character in the next Spider-Verse film.
I'm so sorry.
Going out the next stop.
Shouldn't. Origins. Every good story has a great beginning, right? Well, what if that beginning has been done again and again? We have had 2 incarnations of Peter Parker and are starting on our 3rd with Spider-Man Homecoming. We can't believe this still needs to be said. It's mind-boggling. We don't need more origin stories. We think it's time for a different approach. Audiences are pretty clever. No one's ever heard of Silver Sable, but if you show her in action, everyone will be able to catch up pretty quickly. Spider-Man Homecoming is wisely eschewing traditional origin story to just begin the action, because we all know who Spider-Man is. In the same way, those of us who know who these characters are don't need a reintroduction. It just gets so repetitive. Sure, there are some of us that don't, but you can handle that, can't you? You don't need to know the history of Black Cat to know she's cool, right? You just need to know that she's awesome and has bad luck powers. This gives us more time to get into the character development of these awesome villains and heroes in the Spider-Verse. At the very least, let's trim down those repetitive origins.
You don't deserve my help.
Harry. She needs us.
Should. Silk. Speaking of repetitive stories, here's one way that it can be done correctly and with a fresh spin. Let's take a look at Silk's story. It might sound like another you've heard before. She was on a school field trip, was bitten by a radioactive spider, and gained superpowers that enabled her to do anything a spider could, including spinning webs. Sounds very similar to Peter's story, right? Well, to top it off, the spider that bit her is the same spider that bit Peter. Doesn't this spider ever take a break? Peter Parker found out about her existence during the original Sins plotline. But then she was locked up in an underground bunker for years and was only found and let out during the Spider-Verse event. Silk is a new but amazing character whose plot has involved her finding her family and learning how to become a member of the world again after so long removed. She also has some of the coolest costumes in comic book history, and seeing any of them on screen would be awesome. Silk could be the main star of Sony's Spider-Man universe, and with almost no changes. Like Mary Poppins, she's practically perfect in every way.
I have nothing left except Spider-Man.
He saved your life, sir.
He humiliated me by touching me.
Mr. Osborn, the press will be here soon. I suggest we move on.
Shouldn't. Osborns. Ah, the famous Osborns. It seems we can't have a Spider-Man film without them, can we? The last Spider-Man films we had were less about Parker and more about the grandness and mystery of the noble Osborn family line. While we've complained about having enough of the Parkers, we've had more than enough of the Osborns as well. We know the Osborns are powerful, rich, and scary. Sure, Harry and Peter are best friends, and Norman Osborn killed his first love. Also, let's not forget Norman and Oscorp had a hand in engineering the spider that bit Peter. But there are over 1,000 Spider-Man comics, and that's just one of the many plots that's happened. But enough is enough. Let's move on from it and focus on one of the more awesome plots there are. While we can stomach seeing Peter Parker in another movie, in fact we're pretty excited about it, seeing him fight Green Goblin for what would be the 4th time would be too much for us. If we ever hear the name Osborn again, it'll be too soon. Luckily, Homecoming focuses on a totally different villain. We hope Sony decides to explore different routes as well.
It's not working. You and me.
What?
I don't want to see you anymore.
Well, there you have it. Those are some of the things that Sony should do with the Spider-Man universe, and some stuff that they should definitely leave alone. What do you think? Do you agree or disagree? Are there any characters you'd like to see Sony use in their films? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're here, don't forget to like and share. Check out our playlist for more awesome videos. Thanks for watching CBR.